Welcome to the podcast where we speak truth, illuminate power, and fully embody who the fuck we are. This is the Lightwarriors Unleashed podcast. We are all about spiritual evolution, spiritual growth, talking about the things that may be controversial, even some triggering concepts, but we are all about expansion. Come on in and join us as we reclaim and recenter ourselves in the power of who we really are. We are the Lightwarriors, and welcome to the revolution.
What is up, everybody, and welcome back to episode 131 of the Lightwarriors Unleashed podcast. And I love this conversation with Kirsten. We dive in to so much stuff about fear, about doubt. She leads a community called the School of Badassery, and it literally just opened up when you guys are listening to this episode at the beginning of May. It's open till the end of May of 2025. But if you're hearing this afterwards and you're like really curious about it, I am sure there's a way to subscribe to the waitlist to find out more of when it will be open again. But this was a powerful convo. Kirsten and I are part of the Lion's Den together, and it's a community that I've been in for a few years. If you've been in my world or you follow me on social, I talk about it often, or if you're in any of my programs or memberships and stuff, I speak into it often. And it's where common people really come together that are what we call savages in the world. And although, I may not identify as a savage, my energetic capacity and the power I hold in the world is very much savage-like, of dismantling conformities and all the things. And Kirsten has this beautiful way of weaving information for you, of weaving dynamics into the space of things, and for her to step up into the field. So I am just so stoked to lead and experience this alongside of you as this launches out into the world. But let me just tell you a little bit about her before we go live. So in 2019, Kirsten found herself sobbing on the floor in her bedroom, crippled with doubt and frustration. But what she came to realize is that it wasn't rock bottom. It was the launch pad into the most pivotal chapter of her life. She was the catalyst she was waiting for. Now a key member of the leadership team at the Beast Philanthropy, she's also a holistic health practitioner, breathwork facilitator, trained in rapid rewire method, and teaches dance as a way to connect to your soul. Kirsten also practices martial arts and Krav Maga, is an abstract artist, and completed the MIT program of Sustainability and Design X, receiving the Fire Hydrant Award of Excellence. And like she is definitely one of those key women in your life that you desire to lean into in connection with friendship, but also too in connection with leadership. So I am just really grateful, and so grateful to be able to share this episode with you. So no further ado, episode 131 of the Lightwarriors Unleashed podcast. All right, this is going to be so fun. When Kirsten and I first connected, and I felt into the energy on her social media about badassery, I was like, this is a woman that I want to know. And I am just so grateful to have you on the podcast today for us to just riff off about all these random yet not random things that will tie together in a beautiful masterpiece by the time we're done. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm very happy and stoked to be here. And it's awesome to meet other like-minded women who you could just riff off of and continue the conversation and share really awesome things that people may know or have forgotten or are new to them. So I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. And, obviously we met in person just a couple months ago. When you guys are listening to this, it will probably be about 6 months since we've actually met, but there was just a connection to us. And then I find out that you used to come to Costa Rica often for a festival that we used to have here. And then it just opened up this palette of amazingness. And I was like, oh, you're like a woman that I really want to know. And I want people to feel that through the podcast too, of like, you're doing some cool shit in the world, and you've got a movement that's moving through you that's like growing and expanding into the space of. So I'd love for you to just, whatever that means in this moment, to tap into whatever's being called through you, and then let's just dive into that space.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there's, as with everybody trying to find their purpose and going through different avenues and pathways as your life takes you, there's always been for me almost like a little tug or a little voice that most people get. It's like there's something more, there's something bigger. What is that? And kind of through various avenues and pathways that I took and I went down, I was getting more and more clear, but it was never crystal clear. And it, over the last few years, it's just become more and more crystal clear that this movement that's being birthed and coming through, I want it to completely changed the landscape for women and little girls that spans generations, that it's not just something that is happening right now in the present, but it has longevity. And it's because other women are taking a stand for themselves, and they're seeing their worth, and they're building that self-trust. And those little girls that are looking up to them are seeing that as their role model, not somebody who's shying away from their light and dimming it for somebody else and somebody else's feelings, but really standing true in who they are and teaching through, osmosis.
Yeah.
These little girls are learning that, okay, I can say no, I can stand up for myself, I can be decisive, and it's okay. I can learn how to protect myself, whether that's mentally, physically, emotionally, or spiritually. But creating this movement for women to come together and support each other through this, through their healing, through their learning and unlearning, has been this incredible, the best word is just like this energy, it's kind of this energy that's manifesting, and it's coming out through the School of Badassery, and, looking at my life of how it's transpired and what built on each other to be here in this moment has been really cool.
Mm. I love this. And so when I like saw the word badassery, like I said to you when we first chatted on our call, it was like Shonda Rhimes wrote a book called The Year of Yes. And there was a term called badassery in the book. And this was a few years ago that I'd read it. And I was like, oh my God, I love this term, like just badassery. And then all of a sudden you come into my world and you've got the School of Badassery. My body's in goosebumps. And I'm like, this is freaking amazing. Like, I'm just like, I love this energy. And let's talk about badassery. Like, what, in the context of what the movement is you're creating in the world, what does the badassery energy mean for this movement? What is that?
The badassery, you hear the term often, I'm a badass, or she's a badass, or he's a badass. And sometimes it's taken as this, um, person who's on screen who can do all the martial arts and doesn't take no for an answer and all the things. But really epitomizing that into what this movement is somebody who fully stands up for themselves and is their own protector through the grit and the grace. So finding that balance between the two and figuring out what their own ingredients is, so it's, the mental aspect of it. If you're thinking about protecting yourself mentally, it's putting up those boundaries. Like, I want to be a badass and saying, this is my boundary. And if you try to cross that, I'm going to confront you and say, no, this is where it is. But also having those internal boundaries with yourself. And on the physical side, being strong, like making sure you're lifting heavier weights, this,
Yeah.
lifting heavier weights and being strong within your body, because that leads to confidence, which if you have this confidence and you bring in this presence, that is another badass energy that people will look at and be like, oh my gosh, I don't know why I'm attracted to that person, but their energy is bringing me in. And it's cultivating this whole inner alter ego of this badass person who doesn't take shit from anybody, but can also be compassionate and have the other side of it. It doesn't, badass isn't just the person who's that big physical person just, pushing everybody around. It's so much more than that. And that's what I want to really help people understand, is it is that compassionate side. It is the softer side. It is the nurturing side. And it's all the grittiness as well.
Yeah, well, it's the weave of duality that we're all coming into.
Mhm.
It's like when we talk about multidimensional beings, it's like we aren't just one thing. We are all of the things. And especially as women, it's about embodying that divine feminine in flow and connection and that grace and that energy. But it's also owning that warrior type of energetics within us. That is the like mama bear energy that they call it, or the protector of the things in our own space. And it shows up for all of us differently, which is the cool part, I think, about the journey, is that every single one of us, that means something to each of us in different ways. And although we could weave together in certain aspects of the space, we still have our own uniqueness that's playing out in the energetic field around that. It's so fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's a good point to make, is we are our own inner balance. And sometimes sometimes the pendulum swings so far where it's I need to be always in the flow and I need to be completely in my feminine and like pushing away this more organic, structured masculine energy because it's not womanly.
Mm,
And that's what I really want to bring people into a deeper understanding is you are both. And
yeah.
it's not this energy that needs to be pushed away. They both work together so beautifully. And in my world, it's the grit and the grace, you
Yeah.
know, that you have that gritty, the masculine side, you have the graceful, the feminine side. And weaving that together is what creates this really strong foundation for women. So you're not pushing things away, you're welcoming in what works for you.
Yeah. And I love the beautiful picture of that because it's like sometimes we've been taught that we can't do this or can't be in this space. And then we veer off into these boxes and then are contained in the boxes. And somewhere along the line, I hope you meet someone that helps you blow up the box or that you feel almost because sometimes I think we need that confirmation that it's like, okay, I could breathe into this. It's okay. Like you're witnessing someone else do it. And that may not be everyone's journey because some of us are just like, fuck it, I'm getting out of my box. And no matter what box I was put in, we figure it out. But we also have a little bit more of that courageous energy inside of us, the trailblazer kind of energetics, which not everyone has. But it's like a lot of us are playing in boxes and we've been playing in these boxes for a long time, thinking that that's where we need to be, or that's because my
Mhm.
husband wants this, or because that's what my boss says to me, or the environments I grew up in aren't, and it's like we could give any kind of storyline around this. So I'd love your feedback
Yeah.
on this because I know that part of the brand is like movement, the brand, the advocacy, the like energy around the creation that's coming through you to assist in the birthing in the world and to really bring these women together has a component of that dismantling energy. And I'd love for you just to kind of speak into that.
Sure. A lot of what I've come to find out through various conversations with women and even my own journey is we bump up against doubt
Mm,
so often.
yeah.
And it's something, doubt and fear. And we bump up to this, and it's many of us are like, oh, I need to
Yeah.
look away. I don't even want to go into that space because it either feels scary, it either feels heavy. I have doubt within myself. And I, for me, that was the first component of dismantling,
Mm,
was recognizing doubt as a teacher rather than this thing to just push away and pretend it isn't there or to feel overwhelmed by.
right.
And breaking it into that space and shifting my perspective and really getting clarity on this this thing of doubt. What is it? What is it? What am I doubtful of? Is it I'm doubtful that I have the knowledge to move forward and do whatever I need, the capabilities, the people or the audience surrounding me. If you're starting a new business, it's cloudy
Mm,
until you start seeking clarity.
right.
And then once you start asking questions, you acknowledge, okay, this is the doubt that's coming up. This is where the doubt is, and seeking clarity then from the teacher, quote unquote,
Yeah.
of great, it's my capabilities. I don't think I'm capable of starting this business. Why is that? And going through the 5 whys and almost kind of taking doubt outside of you and seeing
Yeah.
it as a person. Okay, doubt, if you want to name it,
Yeah.
Becky, or
Yeah. No,
whatever
I love
doubt
it.
is,
Yeah.
it's I'm feeling doubt for my capabilities. Great. What about my inability am I doubtful for? Or like what do I not think I'm capable of?
Right.
And through that questioning, you're realizing and you're getting a little bit more clarity on what that root problem is. And then you
Mm,
can go back and shift your perspective of is this true or is it something that I'm hiding or I'm continuing to stay in the victim side or whatever that may be. So now you're shifting your perspective. And then you get to say, okay, from this, what are the action steps I need to take in order to overcome this and work with it? So it's seemed out as this tool that you can use and you can work with. And then going through after you start taking those action steps, is this helping me on my path and reflecting on it
right.
and getting even deeper and deeper and deeper? And so through that, I think we can start to dismantle what you're bumping up against. And then that's comes, you know, is it self-worth or is it self-trust? Is it this lack of confidence because X? You know, you can apply that whole framework to whatever these areas where you feel that there's lack.
Yeah. I love this. And I know my audience pretty well. Like, obviously, I don't know all of you guys as listeners, and some of you I've never been connected to. So I want to honor that as well. But I know I have some very pragmatic listeners that are probably going to be like, wait a second. She said the 5 why questions and she didn't tell us what they were. And I'm like, okay. I pinged it, guys. I heard you. It's okay. I heard you in real time. So I want to ask you, what are those? So if someone's coming up against this, like they're in it, and I know that we're all in it in some way, shape, or form, in some aspect of our world, moving through it right now, whether it's quickly for some of us, we're like, we see it, we got it, we know it, and we're moving into it. Or some of us are like knee deep in this and we're like, it's all over us and things like that. And we haven't seen it yet. You know, I have a really amazing mentor. And last week I sent her a message. I was like, okay, I'm really consciously aware that I'm cycling in this thought process for the last hour. Like and can you just say something to bust out of it? Like, I just wanted to tell you that this was happening. You know, I have support like vocally with her for the container that I'm in, so I can reach out at any time for anything. And she's like, girl, you got to draw that line in the sand. And I'm like, or in the cement or in the things and not look back. And I'm just like, thank you, you know, like, because I'm like literally moving through into the next level. And it's sometimes a little bit scary to be like, who can I hold this? Like, is this really? And then the old mentality starts to creep in and that doubt starts to come through of like, you aren't worth it. You know, who's going to follow you? Why are people going to pay this? And I'm like, shut the fuck up, you know? And I'm just like, so like, and it happens for all of us in some way, shape, or form, whether it's in our workouts, in our relationships, in our business, in our careers, and all the things, right? So would you mind, and are you able to expand on even just the 5 questions? Like, what are they?
It's more simple than that. The 5 questions are just asking why.
Okay, cool.
Literally just asking why. So you have the question and why. So for example, why do I feel like I don't have the capability to start this business? Why is, well, I don't know where to start. Okay. Why? Because I haven't actually researched it.
Right.
Why? Yeah. Because I'm fearful of if I start this, then I don't exactly know if people will support me. Why? And so as you ask those questions, why, you get to a deeper and deeper and deeper root. And most people, when you get to the root of the issue, you'll recognize it. And it's kind of like oh my gosh,
there it is.
That's the thing that's holding me back. So that's the 5 whys. And then the framework is just to name it for everybody. So it's acknowledging there's doubt. It's seeking clarity. It's shifting your perspective. It's taking action and then taking time to reflect on those action steps. Are those really the steps that I need to move me forward? So as you keep going through that, you can start to get even more clarity as well.
Yes. Love this. Awesome. So good. And it's like, I've been talking a lot about this, and I think people are really going to feel this as I say this out loud again. It's like we overcomplicate everything. Like us as humans, it's like you're like, it's really that easy. And I'm like, it is that easy. But sometimes we think it's got to be this big, grandiose thing. So I just want to emphasize that again, that it's just why? And you keep asking why and diving in and diving in and diving in and diving in. And then it's like, then you get to the realness of it. It's just sometimes we're like, so challenged to actually go to the truth, to actually be able to take responsibility for it or to hold it or to shine a light on it. And yeah, what a powerful exercise. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it could be used for anything.
Yeah.
If there's fear, if anything's coming up, literally 5 whys. Awesome.
Yeah. I love this. So you have a pretty powerful story as to like the movement of your change in the world that I'd love to just kind of tap into a bit, because I think that it will showcase a lot of the work that you're doing in the world because you come from this space. So if you don't mind sharing, like, How did this come about? Obviously, the calling kept coming through you and you kept finding the purpose, but there's a journey too that you've been on that I'd love to just hear more about.
Yeah. There was a time years ago where, like I'm sure many of your listeners, possibly you as well, that feels so overwhelmed by everything that's going on. And so, like, sidebar, when I was younger, I would just go after anything. I wanted to do stunt work. And so I went down so many rabbit holes in order to get in touch with all these different stunt people to ask them where they trained so then I can go train there. I was so eager and didn't care what I needed to do to get there. As I've become more wiser in my aging,
I love
more
it.
doubt, more doubt seeped in.
Yeah.
Ironically, you think you get older, there's more confidence there. But for me, I was just like, oh my gosh, like, can I actually do this? Can I really do this? Why am I not where I want to be? And having all these questions and this self-worth of just in the ground, in the pit, and piling on even more and even more. And I just remember this one point just collapsing under the weight of doubt of everything in my life
Right.
and crying in tears of like, what is going on? Why?
Yeah.
Why are all these things happening? And through that, just it dawned on me like, this isn't me. This isn't who I want to be. And I'm going to take steps to change this and go in the direction that I want to go because I'm in charge.
Mm.
And really recognizing that everything I was feeling, I was the common denominator.
Mm.
So, me making the choice in order to take the steps necessary to get me to where I wanted to be, that was all on me.
Right.
And within that whole realm of there was the archetype of the Huntress.
Mm.
And this archetype, she has that grit. She has that grace. She's connected to the earth, the animals. She freaking has her bow and arrow and seemed so badass to me. So I created her as my alter ego.
Mm.
So then I just started doing everything like people would call me Huntress as my nickname. They're like, oh, the Huntress is here. And I loved it because it like I created this alter ego of this woman who was so freaking confident. She knew like the crosshairs down the line. She knew where she wanted to go. And if she had questions, she would get those questions answered in order to take the next step.
Right.
So over the next few years, I just unlearned, learned,
Yeah.
tested things, integrated what felt right for me, like threw back what didn't. So I took this multi-year journey in order to completely dismantle everything and ask those really deep questions of like, fuck, what do I do?
Yeah.
And create plans and create action and build up that self-trust,
Mm.
which in turn builds up the self-worth, which in turn builds the confidence, which
Right.
then you get into this whole realm of like, this is where I am and I can
Yeah.
do anything.
Yeah. I love the visualization of the Huntress too. So I definitely have multidimensional aspects to myself. And, I have the badass, that boxes. And I'm like, I really want to learn how to shoot a gun, but it's not really the country to be shooting guns in here. So I'm like, I want to go somewhere and do something that pushes that limit to be able to like really have that grit energy inside of me. And I love when we were talking about your retreat coming up this year that isn't in full form yet, but is in essence, and you're like archery and this and that. I was like, this is my fucking retreat, like I'm like, and I told one of my girlfriends about it. She's like, that's your retreat. I was like, I know, I'm supposed to go to this retreat. Like I want to be in that energetic space to develop, or what I'll say, remember those parts of who I am that I haven't expressed into the world, because for so long I was contained in my box and thinking this is how you need it to be and this is da 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 da, where like I just see myself rolling around like FBI training, like stunt types of places where I'm rolling on the ground with my gun shooting at shit that's moving. And like I've done this before in past lives for sure. Like I know it. And I'm just like,
Mhm.
because in my mind, I'm like, I've already done this. Like this, like I would just drop in and my body's like, I don't know if we've done this yet. Like you need to train probably for this. But in my mind, I can see it so much. And I feel that duality, and it's her that leads us almost through the gritting or the courageous actions that we need in order to step in and to question if we're in Lemmingville, or if we are the sheep in the world, you know, are we still following the masses, or are we actually embodied in our fullness, let's say, or in all of who we are? Because the mission comes through that. And then we get to meet other cool people like yourself that are doing that in your own light. And it's like we can come together in a unity, whether that's in a collective energy of like a community that you're creating, whether that's at retreats, whether that's just like, oh my God, I'm coming to CR, let's hang out, like whatever. It's like we get to come together now. So I don't know why I went on that tangent, but I'm sure I went on the tangent for something.
I love it. I love it. I think you bring up a really good point too, that oftentimes women are afraid of weapons. Not everyone, but I think that it's something that women shy away from.
Yeah.
And in my perspective, and this is why we're going to have archery, and I shoot, we go to the range, we're going to, Mo does tactical games, I'm getting into it this year, but being able to know how to use a weapon is, I think, imperative. Whether that's using your body as a weapon, whether that's using an item, or knowing how, not that you have to like guns, but knowing how to use one in the event something happens. And that goes into the preparedness side of being prepared, of having that situational awareness, of knowing that, self-defense starts mentally. It starts in that preparedness. It's not just the martial arts. It's not just Krav Maga or knowing how to punch. That is an aspect of it, but there's so much more that is necessary in order to fully protect yourself and be prepared for various situations.
I so agree with you. And it's really interesting. So I don't know if you remember when we got tasked the Nate Solomon challenge in the den. So just so some of you guys know, Kirsten and I are in the den together, coaching group, all this kind of stuff. And when I did it here, it's actually probably not the right place to be doing this kind of exercise. So for those of you that don't know, that are listening, we got tasked walking from sunset to sunrise experience. And in Costa Rica here, it's always 12 hours of sunrise and sunset. Like it's just like 12 hours is 12 hours at night, 12 hours during the day. It like, it moves, like it doesn't change really, maybe a couple minutes here and there. So it's like a 12-hour task of walking at night. And we barely have any lights. The jungle comes alive at this time of the day. And it's very known that here, especially in the region that I'm in, that theft is a really big thing. People are desiring money, especially I'm a white woman walking by myself in the middle of the night. So I sported my machete. I literally put it on my back and I walked. I did it. I completed everything and I walked, and I had no challenges, none at all with anything. And that's an energy too, of holding a space. There was a car that slowed down a little bit when he saw me. And then I feel when he passed, he saw my machete on my back and he was like, no, we're not going there. And there was this one drunk guy that's like, let me walk you home. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm just going to keep moving and walking through this. But it's like, it's almost like even having the confidence to sport like I own 3 of them. And if I ever needed to use them here, I could effectively use them. I'm like, hey, I've been a ninja in a past life. I'll just tap into that energy and we'll be good to go. But it's not about having to use them. It's about knowing in the confidence that I could. Because I was like, I'm going to do this thing. I do not want to do that challenge again. Some of my friends that are in the den are like, oh, I want to do it again. I was like, dude, you can have a good time. I am not. And even some of the Ticos. So for those of you guys that don't know, Ticos are born native to Costa Rica. My Spanish teacher was like, what did you do? And I was like, yeah, I walked 12 hours the whole night pretty much. And he's like, here? Like, he was like, I was like, yeah, he's like, you're nuts. And I'm just like, I probably am. But it just goes to show that when we have assets or tools that we can step into, now, not that I'm encouraging everyone to go out and walk sunset to sunrise or to do that mental game, but you can start to show up in different ways in your life, and you can start to do things that are scary as fuck or that push you to a certain limit to open up new clarity, new capacity, new creative portals. And without that, it would be like we're still living kind of in the diminishment of it. So yeah, that's crazy, right?
Yeah, it's wild. I have yet to do the challenge. I'm looking at a few inches of snow outside.
It would be cold. It would be
It would be
cold.
very cold.
Yeah, the only thing I saw, but everyone's like, why did, like, you didn't see any other kind of animals? I was like, no, I like carried a really big barrier of energy that was like, dude, I do not want any pumas walking across my path. I do not need any snake energy around me. Like, I'm okay. But I got into the shower after it was all said and done, and literally there was this massive spider in my shower that I am sure wasn't there before. So I am sure it was in my hair. Like, oh yeah, it was like, and I was just like, I'm not going to flip out about this. I am just going to honor that, because I was using a tea tree shampoo too, which like basically will kill them. And I'm like, and I'm just going to honor the fact that you came along for this journey with me. And I'm just like, my girlfriend hates spiders, and she's like, holy fuck. And I was like, I'm just not, what am I going to do? Like, it came down from a tree somewhere along the path, like, whatever. It's like, what do you want me to do about it? But yeah, anyways, I digress. But I just think it's a powerful thing. And I want to be able to have that asset. Because if anything were to ever happen, like you just said, it's like I want to know that I could protect my family if I needed to. If my like soon to be husband somewhere down the road comes into my energetic field, I'm calling him in really tightly right now. I want to be able to be like, babe, I got your back. Like, you can go and like you can count on me to do what's necessary. Like, I will hold that energy. And not that I always want to play there, but sometimes I want to play there. Like, I want to have like a land that I can go shoot targets on, or roll around in hay or something and shoot some things. Not animals that way, but like in a way of just like honoring that energy and the way the body can move too. Like, you're trained in a whole bunch of different assets, I feel, right? Like, you've done a whole bunch of different stuff in your world, and it's like it only makes you more confident in who you are.
It absolutely does. And to a few points of what you said, with that energy that you were carrying, when you even just throwing your shoulders back and lengthening your head and walking with presence and confidence, that can even deter people from, like it happened with you, the people driving down, they saw you walking there. I'm sure you, like you said, that you had this energy, whether you were using it for pumas, but I'm sure if people were to see that energy, that's like, okay, I'm not going to mess with that person, and being aware of your surroundings. If you have your head on a swivel, people are also not going to mess with you, less likely to mess with you, because you're going to see them coming.
Yeah.
But to your point, which point was it? There were so many that I was like, yes.
Sorry to be like, interrupt me next time. Be like, wait a second, let me talk into that. Okay, go.
I'll point at my finger.
One and two. I've done that before. Yeah, I know. I love it.
Oh, in the energy. So you've seen my husband. He is very handsome. He's very strong. He's black belt in multiple martial arts. He could definitely protect us. He could protect the compound. He could protect all of it.
Yeah.
And a reason why the retreats are called Shield Maiden training camps is because I believe women should always know how to protect themselves, because even if they're in a relationship like I am, he's not always going to be around.
Right.
And I need to know that I could protect myself. I could protect our dogs, the areas that we have. If friends are here, I know I can depend on myself. And that's the energy that I want to bring, is you like fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
That, and I'm going to keep training, and I'm going to keep developing these different skills. And I also dance. I also love the flow and the movement, and can be this womanly energy with my husband.
Yeah.
And also have and carry this strength. So going back to where we were talking about the balance, hell yeah, women should be, I shouldn't say should, but women can step more into.
Yeah. It's an option.
It's an option.
Yeah.
I believe most women should have this ability, because you never know.
You never
know. And
I
was having a conversation with a woman who was saying, having this conversation kind of just scares me. And I asked her why, and she's like, well, just to think that somebody would come hurt me and she just kind of stopped and looked at me, and I started speaking on the conversation. I'm like, well, if you are prepared,
Yeah.
that fear is going to lessen. So it was the fact of just talking about the chance of it happening was scary for her.
Right.
In my perspective, the chance of it happening and you not being prepared is even more scary.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not that we're living in a fear of things. It's just that,
Hmm.
we have the assets. And if everybody just had the assets and they never use the assets, they could still walk the earth in a whole different calibration of energy. And that's the thing I
Hmm.
think we really should look at in our life to be like, are you confident in certain spaces? I have friends here, and I was like, if the apocalypse happens, I'm coming to your house. Like, and she's like, you're my number two on my team. Her son, Ben, would be in the number one because he's just this asset for all of us. And then it would be me. Because my ego's like, why would you want me on your team? Like, not even her husband or her other son. Like, it's like, I came in number two. She's like, are you kidding? You are so resourceful. And I would tap into stuff and I would be like, I wouldn't quit until we were done. It'd be like, if we need to find food, I'm going out to find fucking food. And I'm going to go figure out how to find food, how to climb the trees, how to do this. And luckily, the land here is like so plentiful that it won't take you long to find at least some things in the space of it all. But I'm like, that's just who I am. I'd figure it out. What do we need? We need this. Okay, we need that. We should have these collected here and all of it. Like, I've got 3 months worth of water stored at my house in case we ever need it. Like, it's just,
Awesome.
it's here. And it's like, I could probably eat for the animals would be set for at least 3 months, probably with the food I have backed up. And my animals, like dogs, especially though, eat human food. But I'd be like, dudes, you guys are eating kibble for the next while till we fucking figure this shit out. Or you could go chase iguanas. Okay. If you want to go eat some food, you could go get an iguana or something. Go have a good time. But like, I'm prepared to some degree that way. I've got enough medicinal stuff like homeopathy and holistic things to get through some of the stuff. But I'm like, I said to my mom one day, I was like, Mom, can you get me this? Like, she's like, what do you want for your stocking? I was like, I want some homeopathy. And this is the one I'm really looking for. And she's like, I didn't buy you that one because the woman said that it's kind of like a psychedelic. I was like, Mom, that's for fucking snake venom. That's what I need it for, because it's like, I have 26 different poisonous snakes where I live. Like, that is an
Jeez.
actual thing. Like, I see snakes all the time. Literally the other day we were walking, me and my dog, and she put her nose in this tall grass, and I called to pull her back, and all of a sudden I just see the slithering of a snake going by us. And I was like, and I'm like, I know you're here and I don't need to see you kind of energy. I honor the snake but it's like, it's a thing. Like, I literally saw a fer-de-lance just dead on the street the other day. And that's the most poisonous snake or venomous snake in the world. And it lives here. Like, literally probably I find one in the field right beside my house, like, but that's the understanding that.
Hmm.
What could you come up against? Would I ever need all the water? I don't know. But sometimes, especially when Envision was here last year, for 2 weeks, I didn't have water. Like, it's like one of those things. Oh,
Jeez.
yeah. It would come on at 2 a.m. and it'd go off at 5 a.m. So I'd set an alarm. I'd get up, do all the dishes, fill all the buckets, do whatever laundry I needed to do. And then the next day it would go off again because I was living a bit up the mountain. So the pull of water coming from Envision just took out assets. And we didn't have a lot of rain last year. So it was like, this is something that I have learned. Like, Canadian, you go up to Canada, this isn't a thing I ever would talk about, and it was like until we ran out of toilet paper in 2020. And then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, I should probably learn how to do some things, like, because I don't grow anything. I don't know how to can anything. And then I got a pressure canner and all the stuff. And I started to learn different aspects of like life. And yeah, I just feel like it's so necessary for all of us to at least have an understanding or
Hmm.
knowledge or community around us that in case hurricanes, in case fires, in case whatever starts to transmute through us, like, we have availability for that. So yeah.
Hugely important.
Yeah.
So it's like going on vacation. You wouldn't go on vacation and not be at least somewhat prepared
Mm-hmm.
for what's to come or your travel. So yeah, and it's like you're talking about, it's so different from each area. And for each area, I remember growing up, my mom would always make sure that we had an extra pair of snow boots and jacket and water and snacks in the car, because you never know if there was going to be a snowstorm, we couldn't get out, or we would be stuck in some location. And so it's just those little bits. And like you said, it's not there to scare anybody. It's
No.
there to enhance this ability of like, I know I can take care of myself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. Well, I went down the rabbit hole there. I'm like, apparently somebody needed to feel that or hear that or whatever it was. But I want to move us back to kind of close off this episode into the badassery world that you're playing within. And like, what are you seeing right now coming through women? And what are we actually calling forward within ourselves? And what is the school going to help assist women like really do once this whole movement gets up off the ground for you? I'd love to just find out.
It's going to help them step into their own ingredients of what badassery looks like for them. You know, some people, some women may have been on their personal development journey already, and some people may be getting their personal development journey, but it's all about being a support for each other, because we're all going to bump up against self-trust issues, doubt, this feeling of what's the unworthiness, but one is the imposter syndrome.
Oh, okay.
Imposter syndrome, or I shouldn't be able to do this, or I'm scared to do whatever the thing or whatever the path is in front of you. So there's going to be classes, there's going to be weekly lives, there's going to be a community where everybody is supporting each other. And that's the main thing. I don't, you know, this I want to span generations. And I told you before, I don't care if people know my name or not in 10 years and 20 years from now, but I want the ability to have this community continue to expand and inspire other people and inspire this self journey that says I can do and be whatever I want to be. I can be that different breed of woman who is prepared, who can protect herself mentally, emotionally, and physically and spiritually. I can do all these things. I can tap into my alter ego and just say, let's go for it, you know, and really honing in and teaching ourselves how to be this really badass person, whatever that looks like for the individual, and be supported in that. And through that, like I said before, which then you're teaching the next generation to be stronger, to know that they are worthy, to not have to ever feel like, should I say this? I feel like I can't say no, or I feel like I can't speak up because I don't want to hurt that person's feelings.
Right.
You know, like all these things that go through our heads, this is what this community is there for. It's let's help you if you're having problems with follow through. Awesome. Let's go. Let's dive into follow through. Let's dive into building this relationship with yourself so it's unshakable. So your foundation is so strong that you can go and do whatever you want to do. You know, and touching on the relationships that we have with other people and how to navigate that, how to navigate experiencing life to its fullest. And then, you know, your spiritual component, what is driving you, what is coming through, what are you connected with? So there's many different aspects to this, and it's a wholesome group. And then bringing in the ecosystem, having women like you in there, having women who have all these rad, amazing services and offering that to the members. You know, it's, I don't have all the answers, and I don't believe one person does. So creating an ecosystem of women who are serving other women is the bigger vision of this as well.
Yeah. And I love that. I really feel like we're building communities right now. You know, like I can look at my life 5 years ago even, and that was more Lone Ranger, you know, like doing the things over here. And now it's really, really coming through in the collective of like us getting communities together and coming together in each of our roles, in each of our lights, in each of our multidimensional selves to serve humanity. And the more we do that, it's like exponentially the energy is created, instead of it just being my linear energy moving the ripple effect. It's like the wholeness is moving the ripple effect. Well, and we can look at indigenous times. It's like the tribes created, the tribes came together, the tribes do that work. And it's like we're being called back into some of the roots that really held a lot of the energy lifetimes ago. And it's really fun to see. Obviously, we have technology and all different kinds of stuff these days, but it's fun to see how it's all being created and moved through the world now. It's really cool. Yeah, love it. So we'll have links, obviously, in the show notes for the School of Badassery, for people to connect with you and all the stuff. anything else you want to say in connection with that before I let you free flow with last thoughts that I can't wait to see what you're going to say?
I think we covered a lot. I just, to everyone who's listening, there's a reason for you, and there's a reason for you to be here, and you get to fully step into whatever that is for you. And maybe you have a community and maybe you are desiring a community, but like you said, Colleen, it's surrounding yourself with people who are going to lift you up and have that tribe mentality of moving things forward and shifting. And we don't have to be a lone ranger. We can have, I have call it my council of women who, when I'm in that moment of questioning, I lean on them.
Yeah.
They're the 5 women that I have full trust of. They know all aspects of my life. And that's my inner community. And then it expands from there of how can we be of service to each other?
Right.
How can we lift each other up? Because, women have come from a, like kind of a crumbly past, where we're put on a pedestal, we're taken off the pedestal, we're shamed for whatever we are, through history. We get to rediscover this like really strong, incredible strength within us that is lineages long.
Yeah.
So bringing that back in, I guess I kind of went off of a tangent before you asked me to.
No, go ahead. Do the tangent. I'm ready for it.
Oh gosh.
It's fun. Yesterday I was in a temescal, and one of the doorways is the doorway of the mother and the women doorway, and honoring the women. And at one point in that session we were in the temescal, I got called to ask for the drum of the leader, because he was a male, and he said, I would love 4 prayers from the women in the temescal to hold this space here. So I asked him for his drum, and I channeled in this, I don't even know what we want to call it. White Buffalo Woman was for sure with me. And it was just like this rooted indigenous energy that just came through the drum of reclaiming this life. And it was just like, the power through that. So from the earth, from the like elements, from the connection of this movement forward, it's like we're really, really seeing it. So I love how you brought that up. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I love that you were able to channel that as well. It actually gave me chills when you were talking about it.
It was, my girlfriend sent me a message later, and she goes, girl, I've seen dimensions of you, and like she's seen me in ceremonies and all different kinds of stuff. But yesterday in that temescal, I was like, you know what? I just made a commitment to myself that I'm not going to leave anything on the table anymore. That if it drops in, I'm just going to take action, and I'm just going to drop it into the space. And it was like almost like a celebration, and it was very indigenous. Like it came through as like yelping and like celebration of energy. And it was just like this like powerful energetics. And I just went, I'm like, before I'd be like, well, can I really do that? Should I really ask for the drum? I don't want to bug him. I don't want to. And I'm like, fuck that. Like, let's go. And I even asked him in Spanish, which was even cooler. I was like, yes, he understood me. And I said the right words, So like,
perfect.
It was so great. But it was like, I'm done. I'm just really done with the meekness or the diminishment of the energy. I'm like, it's not serving anyone. It's not serving me. It's not serving the people. It's not serving the collective. And I think the more we really root into this and take ownership, just like you said, of the grace and the grit and all the parts of us, and stepping in and doing the work and diving into the feelings that we have, it's like that's where the impact comes into play. I really feel so. Yeah, I love it.
I love it.
Yeah, me too. Any closing thoughts before we say goodbye to all the peeps?
Closing thoughts. Well, I did my tangent.
We're good. Where can people find you? We're gonna have all your links, but where's like your play? Like I call it the playground. Like where do you love to hang out? Where can they connect into you? Any of that?
Definitely. Social media is at School of Badassery _school_of_badassery. And then my personal one is connected to that as well. The website is schoolofbadassery.com, all one word. And on there's the newsletter, and there's information of the membership enrollment. So it's going to be opening twice a year. So you can get on the wait list for that. and just find out more information. It's going to be a fun year. It's going to be a really fun
Yeah.
year this 2020, whenever people are listening to this.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun year for you too, no matter what year it is, you know?
Exactly.
But 2025 is definitely going to be a fun year. And I look forward to seeing when your retreat details come out, because I'm going to be a part of that. And whatever that means, I don't even know what we're up to, but I don't even care. I'm like, I'm showing
Perfect.
up and I will be already in it, you know,
Love
like,
it.
whatever that is, you know? Well, when we were talking before, I was like, I was calling it a retreat and I felt like it was in July. And then you were telling me about yours. I was like, that's my fucking retreat. And that's when I say it that way, I'm like, not my retreat to lead, my retreat to be a part of. Because I'm just all in for pushing the boundaries in that kind of
I love
life.
it.
So I'm really grateful. I'm happy you were here. I'm so grateful for the message that we brought forth and all the tangents we both were able to go on and all the things. But yeah, is there anything else you want to say?
No, just thank you. Thank you for having me on and giving me a microphone to share this. It's something that's been close to my heart, and I believe women have so much more that a part of them, not necessarily even to put out there, but a part of them to find themselves. And I want to help be that guide for women to really build this unshakable foundation within themselves so they can go do whatever they want to do. So thank you for inviting me on. Thank you for being such an advocate. It's incredible, and I can't wait to have you at the retreat.
Yes, I know. I can't wait to be there. I'm already like preparing myself, you know, and that's not who I am. I know, like, so I'm just like, so I can feel like you could feel the spark. You know, when you make a decision and you decide to lead a life a certain way, and then all of a sudden things
Mhm.
start to come out, it's like it becomes, I call it juicy. It's just juicy. Like I
Mm,
just feel like this year's juicy. All the dynamics is going to be juicy. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm just really excited about it all. So
me
just
too.
feeling really grateful for it. So, and grateful for all of you guys listening. You know, you guys show up. Some of you have been here since the beginning and have listened to all the episodes and have shared the episodes and have, you know, connected it to other people. And I just want to say thank you. And I know within our hearts, if something landed for you, I'd love for you to message Kirsten and just say, hey, I love that thought, or can I get a link, or can, like, whatever is going on in the field, and just asking you to share this out. If there's a woman in your world that could like really use the message of some of the stuff we were talking about, send them the link and share it, because the movement isn't just us in you listening.
Mhm.
It's the light warrior movement in the world is unleashing it to everyone that we can that's meant to hear the message. So just like always, I encourage everyone to share. And thanks again. I'm so grateful.
Thank you, and thanks all listeners.
Yay! We'll see you guys all in the next episode.